Dear students, you know the gene of interest or a particular gene which produces a biochemical, a glycoside, an enzyme or a hormone is isolated from a particular donor cell, is inserted to a host cell to produce the rDNA. How to isolate a specific DNA fragment or the gene of interest, a foreign gene or alien gene in the process of biotechnology, genetic engineering. First of all, we have to identify the gene of interest, a particular gene which produces a biochemical. It may be an enzyme, a glycoside, a tannin, an alkaloid, or any product that is produced by the plant, animal, or maybe microbe. We have to identify this gene of interest. So the gene of interest, it's also called a foreign gene, or it's also called alien gene or foreign gene, or it is a target gene. We have to cut the target gene by using REN. We have to use REN, restriction endonucleases, to cut or cleave the small fragment of DNA, the small portion of DNA. So this is the target gene, the target DNA. We have to use REN. A large group of enzyme called nucleases are used to cut the double-stranded DNA. In these nucleases, we can see two types, the exonucleases and endonucleases. The exonucleases that cut the nucleotide in the DNA fragment from the end of the DNA fragment. It cleave out the nucleotide at the end of the DNA. It breaks and opens and separates the nucleotide at the end of the DNA. But endonucleases are the enzymes, the group of enzymes that identifies a specific portion of nucleotide within the DNA. So this specific portion is the repeating sequence or repeated sequences, that is the palindromic sequences. So it identifies such recognition site, and in the restriction region or the restriction site, it cut and cleave out the portion of DNA. So we have to use these endonucleases to cut and cleave open the double-stranded DNA fragment or the gene of interest. This foreign gene or alien gene is cut by using REN. We have to cut and cleave out the fragments of DNA. These fragments must be sorted or separated, and only we have to isolate the small portion of alien gene in the genomic DNA of a donor organism. The technique called gel electrophoresis technique. In this gel electrophoresis technique, we are made to pass through these fragments of DNA in a gel sheet. Usually, the gel sheet is made from a seed, it's an agarose gel. So it is a matrix in which we have to pass through the DNA fragments, a small well to which we have to pour the solution containing the fragments of DNA. So it should be kept in an electric field. The DNAs are negatively charged molecule that is made to pass through this gel sheet. So based on the affinity towards this electric field, it travels through the gel sheet. So negatively charged molecule is having affinity with an anode that moves fast. The fragments of different length, the smaller or larger fragments get separated, sorted out. When these DNA fragments are made to pass through this matrix of agarose gel that run through this gel sheet in the small sieves present in this matrix, if you pour to this well, so it forms a band, a DNA band. We can visualize this DNA band under UV radiation by using a chemical called ethidium bromide. Ethidium bromide is the chemical used to visualize the DNA fragment under UV radiation. UV radiation in the gel sheet. So afterwards we have to cut and separate the small fragment of DNA by cutting the gel sheet. The process of separation of this fragment or the DNA band by cutting the gel sheet is called elution. Elution process. By this we have to sort out the gene of interest. After the separation of gene of interest, we have to introduce it into a plasmid vector. Or we can insert this gene of interest or alien gene into a plasmid vector. Plasmid vector. So we need a vector or a vehicle to transfer the gene of interest to a host cell. Usually the plasmid is the most accepted vector in genetic engineering. In a bacteria, for example E. coli, along with its host DNA, the genomic DNA, it contains an extra chromosomal double-stranded DNA. Extra chromosomal double-stranded DNA, that is the plasmid DNA. That is the plasmid DNA. So this plasmid DNA is independent from this chromosomal DNA or the host DNA, and it produces its clones. So it is a double-stranded and having self-replication ability. It is independent with the host genomic DNA, double-stranded with an autonomously replicating double-stranded circular DNA. This plasmid DNA is used to insert, we are using this plasmid DNA to insert the foreign gene or alien gene. So what must be the character? What are the character it should include? So we have to analyze the characteristic feature of the plasmid vector. So we can see many more vectors. The plasmid vector that was developed by Bolivar and Rodriguez, that is called PBR322P, that stands for plasmid vector. BP, Bolivar Rodriguez, the plasmid vector was developed by Bolivar and Rodriguez. 322 is the serial number. So what are the most important character or the important character involved in this plasmid vector? So this is a double-stranded circular DNA. This plasmid is the double-stranded circular DNA. In its DNA, it contains a small nucleotide sequence, small portion. So that is the ORI site, ORI or ORIC site. So it is having the origin of replication, ORIC site or origin of replication. So each and every plasmid vector should have the character of origin of replication. It should have the ORIC site, and we can see a small portion called ROP. Replication protein is present, so it codes for the replication protein. The replication protein is very must for the replication of the plasmid DNA. So it synthesizes such a type of protein and enzymes necessary for DNA replication. And we can also see a small portion that contain a resistant gene called AMPR. Ampicillin resistant gene is present in this plasmid. We can also see another important portion. So that is the tetracycline resistant gene. A small fragment is having the the nucleotide sequences that codes for a gene, that is the tetracycline gene. We can mention here as TETR, tetracycline resistant gene. It is having two such marker genes. One is the ampicillin resistant gene and another one is tetracycline resistant gene. So these two are called marker genes. So the marker genes are very necessary to identify or to grow the recombinants and to eliminate the non-recombinants. It helps to mark the recombinant and helps to eliminate the non-recombinant in the bacterial culture, in the transformed bacterial culture or transformed cell culture. So we can see a multiple cloning site in this. So if you add different REN, restriction endonucleases, it cleave the DNA strand in the plasmid. So this group of REN, so we can see say PST first, a type of REN, PVU first, this is also an REN that cleave in this position, So PST first cleave in this position, and we can see ECO R first that cleave in this region, and CLA first, this is the ECO R first, CLA first, and Hind third, BOM H first, SAL first, SAL first, and we can also see a region that cleave with the help of PVU second enzyme, REN. These are all different REN. That cleave or cut the double-stranded DNA of the plasmid. So it helps to insert a foreign gene or alien gene in the place so created. So this REN, so these are all REN. We can see a conventional naming of restriction endonucleases, REN, a conventional naming of restriction endonucleases. The first letter stands for the name of the genus. So in this conventional naming of REN, we can see the use of bacteria. All these RENs are extracted from different bacteria. So the first name indicates the name of the genus from which the bacteria from which the REN is extracted. The first name indicates the name of the genus. The second, next two letters that indicates the name of the species. The third letter that indicates the strain, the bacterial strain, and the fourth letter, the Roman letter, that indicates the enzyme so isolated. The enzyme so isolated. The order in which the enzyme is isolated. So this REN, ECO R first. The first name E stands for the genus Escherichia. CO coli, Escherichia coli, commonly called it as E. coli. E. coli in short. E. coli, Escherichia coli. The first name indicates Escherichia, the genus name. The next two letters that indicates the name of the species, coli. The R strain. We can see different varieties in this bacteria. R is one of the strain. The R strain, the first. So it was the first enzyme isolated from this bacteria. The order in which the enzymes are isolated. The second enzyme so isolated is named as second. So in this way, we have to name the REN. In this Hind third, HIND third, the first name H indicates Haemophilus. Haemophilus, the genus of the bacteria, Haemophilus. The next two letter, IN, influenza. Haemophilus, influenza, D stain, Haemophilus, influenza, D stain. Enzyme number third, that is hint third. So these are all different RENs. So that cleave or that cut the double stranded DNA and makes a space to insert a foreign gene or alien gene. So that means it should have a cloning site, An ideal plasmid should have these characteristics. These are the characteristics of an ideal plasmid. Characteristics of an ideal plasmid vector. An ideal plasmid vector, or this is the salient feature of PBR 3222. PBR 322. P stands for plasmid vector, that was developed by the scientist Bolivar and Rodriguez. PBR 322. Plasmid vector developed by Bolivar and Rodriguez. This is the serial number. Okay. This vector, the plasmid vector, is having two important sites. That is, this plasmid vector is having a site called ORI, auric site. So that is the origin of replication. Any plasmid should have the origin of replication, because the gene so isolated should be inserted in this plasmid to produce the rDNA, recombinant DNA or rDNA. The inserted gene of interest or foreign gene should replicate. Our intention is to produce the replica or the clones of the foreign gene or interested gene. To produce the clones of gene, if you insert to produce the rDNA must replicate. It should have a replication site, the origin of replication, otherwise it does not divide at all. It does not produce the clones and does not replicate at all. The total work is totally wasted. So the second important thing, it should have a marker gene. If you insert a foreign gene or alien gene into a plasmid vector, so this alien gene should replicate. We have to introduce into a host cell. Host cell is having its own genome. It also incorporates the plasmid, the rDNA. So this is the rDNA, the DNA of interest, and the DNA of the plasmid. So how to identify this transformed cell? So after introduction of this rDNA into a host, the host get transformed. So it get transformed because along with its host genomic DNA, it contains a foreign gene. An alien gene comes to its cytoplasm. So its genomic DNA or its genetic material gets altered. So the bacteria or the host or a cell that get transformed. So this is the transformed cell. So in a culture, in the petri dishes, in an artificial nutrient media, we are growing this bacteria, the bacterias. So that is the transformed bacteria in the nutrient media. These transformed bacteria grow in this nutrient media along with the transformed bacteria, because we are taking billions of copies, millions and billions of cells, the bacterial cells, to introduce the rDNA, not only a single bacteria. So out of these millions of copies of bacteria, some of the bacteria are transformed bacteria. Some of the bacteria is non-transformed bacteria. So this transformed bacteria is called recombinant bacteria. This is a recombinant bacteria. So we have to recover this recombinant bacteria. Some of the bacteria are non-recombinant. Non-recombinants The non-recombinant does not have the rDNA. rDNA does not come inside the non-recombinant. It also multiplies. It also multiplies and produces a large number of cells. The recombinant will also multiply and produces large copies of the cell, the clones of cell. So you have to recover only the recombinants and destroy or to delete or to kill the non-recombinant. How to kill? So if it is having a marker gene that is a tetracycline or ampicillin resistant gene, that is the bacteria is resistant to an antibiotic, ampicillin. So if you plated in the nutrient media which contain ampicillin, a bacterial antibiotic, only the recombinant will survive. This ampicillin kills all such non-recombinant which does not have the resistant gene, the ampicillin. In the same way, if it contains tetracycline resistant gene in its DNA, if you add or if you plated in a nutrient media, if you plated the bacteria in a nutrient media which contain tetracycline, streptomycin, erythromycin, neomycin, number of bacterial antibiotics are there. So this tetracycline, the bacterial antibiotic containing nutrient media, if you plated this bacteria, it grows. Only the recombinants which contain tetracycline resistant gene survives and it kills non-recombinant. It does not have the tetracycline resistant gene. We can recover just a mark. So in your mobile, in the WhatsApp, you are in the important messages, you are giving the star mark, and the selected starred, except the starred, you can delete all other messages in the WhatsApp. So in the same way, we can mark the recombinant gene, and the unmarked microbes should be destroyed by using antibiotics, the bacterial antibiotics. So these two are important marker gene to mark and identify the recombinants. It should have an origin of replication, it should also have a marker gene, and cloning site is must. A multiple cloning site, at least one cloning site is very must in this plasmid vector. Or it is also contain, the PBR also contain a number of cloning sites. What are these cloning sites? Cloning site is the recognition site. It is the recognition site of REN. Restriction endonucleases recognizes this cloning site. If you add a particular REN, it cut and cleave out or separates the double stranded DNA. Once it has been separates the double stranded DNA, you can insert the alien gene. It makes a space to insert a foreign gene or alien gene. So these are the cloning site or the site which were identified by the REN. REN recognizes this cloning site and cut the double stranded DNA and to make a space to insert a foreign or alien gene or alien DNA. So this cloning site is very must. At least one cloning site is must in a plasmid vector. We can also identify the recombinants from non-recombinants by a method called a plating method to identify the colors, different colors. Usually, when you are growing the bacteria in a nutrient media, the bacteria forms a colony. The rDNA containing host, the recombinant DNA once comes inside, this rDNA containing host is having a site, a specific site of DNA which produces beta-galactosidase. Beta-galactosidase enzyme which is close to the operon. When you put some inducer, the beta-galactosidase enzyme is produced to consume the inducer. Along with the production of beta-galactosidase, the foreign or alien gene will also produce its product. So these beta-galactosidase containing are producing DNA. DNA is present in the bacteria that shows the blue color nature, that forms the blue color colony. If the recombinant, in this recombinant, if you insert a foreign gene, alien gene, in the same place of beta-galactosidase, in the DNA sequence of beta-galactosidase, if you cut this sequence of beta-galactosidase and insert a foreign gene or alien gene, that inactivates the beta-galactosidase, that inactivates the production of beta-galactosidase, that is called insertional inactivation. Such inactivated beta-galactosidase containing cells that forms a bacterial colony that is colorless colony. So we can identify the colored and colorless nature of the formation of the bacterial colony in the bacterial plate. We can identify the recombinants and also non-recombinants. So, insertion inactivation means inactivation of a specific gene in the plasmid vector by inserting the foreign DNA or alien DNA. The insertion of a foreign DNA or alien DNA that inactivates the production of specific enzyme in the plasmid, that is called insertion inactivation. Okay. So how to introduce the rDNA into host? What are the method involved in the insertion of rDNA into host? So I have to discuss in detail the insertion of recombinant DNA into host. So you can identify specific foreign DNA or alien DNA, isolate by using REN. You can isolate, cleave out the double-stranded DNA. You can insert into a plasmid vector. This is the rDNA, recombinant DNA. Then you can introduce or insert the rDNA into host. How to introduce the rDNA into host? Introduction of rDNA into host. In the first method, if the bacterial cell, for example E. coli bacteria, you have to introduce an rDNA into E. coli bacteria. You can treat the bacterial cell along with the rDNA in a solution that contain a divalent cation, the calcium. A divalent cation, calcium, is used that increases the membrane permeability and allows the rDNA to come inside the cytoplasm of host cell. So if you treat the bacterial cell, the host cell and rDNA in an ice, if you incubate these two in an ice and immediately expose it to a heat of about 42 degrees Celsius, a heat shock treatment. So in this heat shock treatment, the rDNA is introduced into host cell. So if you incubate the rDNA and host cell in an ice and just expose this rDNA and host cell immediately at 42 degrees Celsius, again put back into ice, This is called heat shock treatment. So the second important method of introduction of the rDNA into host, especially in animal cell, is by microinjection. If the host cell is an animal cell, it contains its genomic DNA. You have to introduce a foreign gene, an alien gene. So to introduce this foreign gene, we can directly inject the foreign gene into the host cell by injection. The method is called the microinjection, especially in animal cell. But in plant cell we are using the biolistics. In this biolistics are gene gun method. The plant cells are bombarded with microparticles of gold or tungsten coated with DNA. So that is used to introduce the DNA to plant cell. This method is called biolistic method or gene gun method. And the fourth important method is the disarmed pathogen. Disarmed pathogen. So disarmed pathogen is used to introduce a foreign gene or foreign DNA or alien DNA into human beings or an animal cell or any other eukaryotic organism. What is this disarmed pathogen? Not only in animal cell, even in plant cell, we are using a specific plasmid vector that is called TI plasmid. TI plasmid, tumor-inducing plasmid. A type of plasmid used in plant is the tumor-inducing plasmid, commonly called it as TI plasmid. TI plasmid. This is the plasmid present in a pathogen, a plant pathogen called Agrobacterium tumefaciens. Agrobacterium tumefaciens. In this Agrobacterium tumefaciens bacteria, it contains a type of plasmid called TI plasmid. It is having the property of transferring a DNA, a tDNA. It delivers a DNA to plant cell. So it delivers the DNA to plant cell and it transforms its own DNA to plant cell. A small fragment of its DNA is transformed to the plant cell. So this DNA, this portion of DNA so delivered is incorporated into plant cell. This incorporated tDNA, transformed DNA or transferred DNA by TI plasmid produces a type of chemical substances, a phytohormones that induces the plant cell to produce large number of cells. Large number of cells are produced. The cell go on division and that forms the tumor. A large number of crop plants that produces the nodules in its root. So that is the root nodules. It forms the nodules. A tumor is formed by the division of cells. So this tumor is formed by the gene of TI plasmid. It delivers a type of DNA, tDNA into plant cell. The delivered DNA produces the product, a chemical product that induces the plant cell to divide and that forms the tumor. The nodule-like structures are formed in the plant cell or the plant organ in which it divides, replicates, divides and produces large number of cells, the bacterial cells. It acts as a parasite and it takes the accommodation, the food and nutrition, and also host from the plant. Totally a parasite. We are using this technique, the tDNA. When it delivers the tDNA, we are also transfers the gene of interest. We are using this Agrobacterium tumefaciens in plant cell to transfer the gene of interest, to produce the rDNA. Along with the TI plasmid, when it delivers the specific DNA, it also delivers the gene of interest into plant cell. In the same way, retrovirus group uses the cancerous tumor in living organisms, especially in animals and also human beings. We are using this retrovirus which deliver the gene or the DNA in the same way of TI plasmid, Agrobacterium tumefaciens. Retrovirus also follow the same procedure to deliver its DNA to human beings to induce the cancerous tumors. So made these retroviruses disarmed, unable to produce the tumor. We are taking the application of this retrovirus to transfer the gene of interest. That is the disarmed pathogen. Disarmed pathogen are used to transfer the gene of interest. So these are different methods of introduction of rDNA into host. So that is the first one, heat shock treatment. The second one, microinjection. Third one, biolistic. And the important one in animals, especially human beings, is the disarmed pathogens. So this is a brief outline of gel electrophoresis technique, the characteristic feature of plasmid, and also the method of insertion of plasmid into host cell. Thank you. Thanks one and all.